The big story of the day, though, in sports is this one. And this is incredibly significant. One of these guys is not in sports. But so Rick Welts is the executive for the Phoenix Suns, 58 years old. He'd worked for the NBA before. That's him. He comes out over the weekend as gay. He'd organized All-Star Weekend when he worked for the NBA, and now he's with the Suns. So he's gay. And then at the same time, also Will Sheridan, who played guard at Villanova from about 2006 or earlier, and then maybe graduated 2006?
He was with the four-guard lineup with Mike Nardi, Kyle Lowry, Alan Ray, and Randy Foye. And he was the only non-guard that started. And they, 2006, they were a number 1 seed, lost to the eventual champions in Florida in the tournament, Elite Eight.
In the Elite Eight, so they lost their chance to go to the Final Four. But they were a great team. Jay Wright, great coach, great team. So it turns out he's gay. And then also CNN anchor Don Lemon, who anchors on weekends, who I've always thought was really a really terrific anchor, has a really excellent way of communicating. He's also gay. So all three of these guys come out of the closet, although many of their friends, in each case, people in their personal lives, obviously, knew they were gay. People around them knew they were gay. The fact that sports is changing is a big sign, because sports has been sort of this last bastion, or among the last bastions, of a place where if you were gay, you couldn't feel like you could come out and be honest about it. And that's what both Rick Welts said, and to some extent, what one would imagine that Will Sheridan was feeling, although it turns out that he wasn't. But before we get to Will Sheridan, first of all, Rick Welts said a couple of things that he met with David Stern, made the announcement. David Stern said he knew he was gay, but they'd never talked about it, despite their 30-year friendship. So though they'd known each other for 30 years, David Stern says they never had actually talked about it, and David Stern said that his understanding was that this would be a big non-story. But then Stern admits that he didn't know whether he was confusing his thoughts with his hopes, which I thought was a very sweet way and an interesting way to say it. Steve Nash, who plays for the Suns, and that's where Rick Welts is working now, says that anyone who's not ready for this needs to catch up. He's doing anyone who's not ready for this a favor. Again, Steve Nash, really perceptive, really pointing out what ought to be obvious. And then Alvin Gentry, who's the coach of the Suns, he says he had a feeling about it. And then he says, to me, why does it matter? I know he's great at his job. He's very organized. He does a brilliant job. To me, his sexuality is irrelevant. And while I certainly agree with Alvin Gentry, I think that quotes like that are sort of missing the point. This is bigger than people just saying their sexuality is irrelevant, because, yeah, of course it's irrelevant. It's obviously irrelevant, just like the fact that Alvin Gentry's black is irrelevant, the fact that Steve Nash is Canadian is irrelevant, the fact that David Stern is Jewish is irrelevant. All these things are on their face completely irrelevant. But Alvin Gentry doesn't need to talk any longer about what it's like to be a black head coach in the NBA, and David Stern certainly doesn't need to talk about being Jewish anymore. But we still need to talk about being gay, especially in sports. Like, it's still a big deal when people come out. But the more that this happens, 3 guys in 1 week, it's going to stop mattering. Because you look at a guy like Will Sheridan of Villanova, and he spoke honestly to Bob Lee of ESPN on Outside the Lines, and you look at this guy and you think, who wants to hate Will Sheridan? Like, listen to Will Sheridan.
I'm kind of over it. I mean, everyone who's close to me knows. Everyone who matters to me knows. I'm just at a point where someone else can learn from my experience.
Then Bob Lee asked him what it was like to sort of go up to Mike Nardi and say, I'm gay. Did you just tell him, or what? And, a little more subtle than that, but basically, again, just not that big a deal. Like Will Sheridan was saying in his life, it's no longer that big a deal. It's not some momentous moment.
You guys have bonded. You've traded a lot of information about each other.
Yeah.
And you turn to him and you say, hey, by the way, I'm gay.
No. I mean, it seems like it was that simple, but it wasn't. I mean, we shared the same computer, college kids. Didn't want it to be any surprises. I'm like, dude, just so you know, I like dudes. That seems simple as well, but I mean, we had known each other for, a little while. We worked out, we hung out, we played against each other competitively in AAU sports, kind of got a take on his family and where he's from. And I just made a personal judgment and just thought, here it goes.
I love that for a couple of reasons. One, dude, I like dudes. Dude, I like dudes.
It's the best part about it.
Yeah, dude, I like dudes. But also, like, we share a computer. That's his way of saying that, like, Will Sheridan wasn't going to hide in any way. Will Sheridan is saying, look, I'm a guy, I'm gay, I'm going to look at gay porn on our shared computer. And I'm going to watch guys having sex with other guys, and it's going to be on our computer. And you're going to watch, because you're a guy, and you're going to watch guys having sex with girls on the computer. And neither of us need to have like a panicked erasing of our history. Let's just get that out there. I don't know. Makes me love him. Makes me totally love him. That's the only way, that's the only reason to put the shared computer part in. I'm going to watch gay porn, and I don't want to erase it. I love it. I don't know. I love it. I love Will Sheridan. I love Rick Welts. I love Don Lemon. By the way, I've done a bunch of movie reviews at CNN, and when I go into CNN here in LA where Don Lemon is based, I've seen him in Atlanta too. He's like this crazy decent guy. He's like really pleasant, and I think he's a great anchor. And he's written a book called, I think, Transparent. And so Rick Welts, congratulations to Rick Welts, congratulations to Don Lemon, congratulations to Will Sheridan, and Newt Gingrich, Sarah Palin, Michelle Bachmann, Tim Pawlenty, Rick Santorum, and all the rest of you guys who think it's okay for you to hate other people in this world because of the way they are. You're no better than Bull Connor in 1963 turning a hose on black people. No better at all. And people need to realize that you're just flat out bigots. And you can hide behind it and say it's because of your religious beliefs. And we're all for religious freedom. You have that freedom. We protect you with that freedom. But you're bigots. And the tide has turned, and you're going to get washed over. And it's a great thing for America.